and welcome to Hollie's Hot Takes, the show where we discuss all the latest topics and news that's floating around Tottenham Hotspur at the moment. Now, today we've got a little bit of a twist. I am joined by a special guest, Formz. Now, if you don't know Formz already, I suggest you go check him out. You've probably seen him about on TikTok doing his weekly Tottenham and football freestyles, and I must say they are incredible. So make sure after this you go check them out. But anyway, Formz, how are you today on this fine? I don't even know what day is. Thursday.
I think it is Thursday. Yeah, no, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me on again.
No, it's all good. I mean, I had to get you on because I was going to kick the show off with the fact that you have got the brand new Spurs shirt, and I am very, very jealous.
Yeah, it's sick. I can't lie. I'm grateful and lucky enough to, I'd say, be like have a relationship with Spurs, and they very kindly sent me a limited edition shirt with.
Here we go.
Spurs 100 on the back. Look at this pattern; it's unbelievable. They sent it to me to celebrate. I think it was 100 years of having the Cockerel crest with some chocolate and stuff as well, which is nice. But it's gorgeous. It is bloody gorgeous. I'm usually the one to buy. Like I love how simple and normal our home kits are every single year. But I always wait for the away or the third because I love buying like the swanky ones. And I haven't bought. I think this is my first home kit since. Do you remember the home shirt? I think it was like 2013, 14 maybe. Do you remember the home shirt where I can just picture like Sigurdsson and Holtby and Adebayor wearing it with the blue HP in the middle and the collar? That's the last home shirt I've got. So I'm really glad that I've got this one.
No, it is class, and that's the thing as well. Like I'm always the one to go for away shirts as well. I think I've only got like 2 home shirts, and like I say, that one is so clean and smart. It's like I've waited so long just for a simple design, and I know the price tag is rather expensive, but the fact you got yours for free makes me even more jealous.
Yeah, but it's good. It was good. Like I say, I'm grateful for it because like 12 months ago, I would never have even thought I'd be asking my mum for my birthday. Now I've actually got to think of a present for her to bloody get me, but. We'll see. There's worse problems to have.
That's the thing with me. Like for my birthday, for Christmas, it's like everyone just gets me Tottenham stuff because they know I'll be happy with that.
Exactly. It's just easy.
It is. It really is. And obviously, you're on the show, Formz. Now, I know you've been on before, but if you want to give like a little, I wouldn't say demo because I don't want you to like rap live on stream if you don't want to, but like tell people what you kind of do because, like I said, I'm all for getting the community together because I stumbled across you on TikTok, and from then on, like I know we're good friends now, we talk about things, but let everybody know what you kind of do in that kind of sense.
In a nutshell, I'm a rapper. I am a rapper. I got songs, a new song that comes out on all platforms every month. My most recent one is called Believe in Me, but literally just look up Formz on all platforms. I'll be there. But I found fame, if you will, from posting raps on TikTok. Like I started by asking people for random words and they throw them my way and I'd freestyle them, and that built traction. And then I started rapping. I started summarizing what happened in the Premier League week in like a 30-second rap, and people loved that. And then the videos grew, the following grew, and I'm kind of outside of TikTok, I'm a rapper. Inside of TikTok, I'm the football guy, I'm the freestyle guy, and that put them all together, you've got Formz.
No, I love it. And that's the thing, the best thing about it, you're a Spurs fan, so that's a bonus for everyone.
Yeah, of course.
But that being said, I mean, there's loads of people in here that are talking about obviously Pochettino, and I think that's probably the best thing to actually talk about Tottenham related. So that being said, Formz, what's your kind of take on the rumours about managers at the moment? We might as well just start with Pochettino.
Yeah, we'll go straight in with Poch. Look, half of me can't wait. Half of me wishes that the rumours are true and Spurs tweet right now, we are delighted to announce Pochettino is coming back to the club. But the logical side of me is thinking that A, it's way too early. B, it would be, I think we were talking about it before, I think that if we brought Poch back now, it's almost like Daniel Levy saying, okay, we're going to push what happened in the past 12 months under the carpet, and we're going to sugarcoat it and bring back a nice prize for everyone to just be distracted by and look at, and here's Poch. But I think it'd be A, wrong of them to do that. for the sake of Poch's career and for Tottenham in the short term and the long term. And B, I just don't think we're ready as a club. And the reason I say that is, and I'm fully about to waffle here, so if I waffle too much, stop me. But
Go for it.
the reason I say that it's too early is because if we brought Pochettino back now, we start him. Okay, we've got some better players, some worse players, but we would start him exactly where he was when we brought him in from Southampton. It would take another 4 or 5 years of a half decent rebuild if he gets back the right way, and we were on such an upward trajectory, and to have it all start again from the beginning is just the wrong thing to do. But then again, every single other part of me wants him back ASAP because he's Poch.
This is the thing. It's so difficult to try and think about it logically. Like, for me, I think, like you said, sugarcoating it if he came back. The fact that the rumours that Kane's leaving, this, that and the other. And I say it all the time. I've got the poster behind me and I've fully had enough of this board. But it would distract everyone. It'd be like, oh, look, Levy's actually done something nice for once. Let's forget everything that's happened for the last whatever, how many months it's been. And it'll be a happy dory because we've got the one we want back. Like, it's just drives me insane. It's another thing from Alan, the fact that Levy needs to spend money on players, otherwise it doesn't matter what manager we get. And I think that is kind of true. Yeah. Obviously, technically, I know Poch has only had a 1-year deal, but technically he's still kind of under contract. So that being said, he's going to have to buy him out. So yeah. I don't know, what's your kind of take on it, Formz? Are you like, I don't know how to word this, but in the sense that we need players ASAP, regardless of who the manager is. And for me, I think we've come to a standstill in the sense that we need to pick one or the other. I don't think we can have both at this moment in time, in a sense that we can't have Pochettino back and get half decent players because we just don't have the funds. Yeah.
I think it's difficult because there's two angles from that. It's one, we will have the funds once we sell all the deadwood that we need to get rid of. And I think that if we have a big summer, it needs to involve, as much as it needs to involve some class centre-backs, right-back strikers, whatever you want to call them, as much as it involves players coming in, it has to involve players going out. I know obviously they announced today that Rose and Gazaniga are gone. Their contracts ran out and they've been released, and a couple of the youngsters as well. But we need to be selling the likes of Sissoko, your favourite player, Winks. I think we've got like Lamella, thank you very much for your service, but it's time to go. There's so many players that we can cash in for whilst they're still young and they've still got time on their contract. And Levy's perfect at that. He's perfect at getting more money than he should for bang average players. And if he can do that with 5 or 6 players, then yes, we have the funds for 2 or 3 great players and potentially Pochettino back as well. And that is my take on how the summer needs to be and the balance in terms of players. But look, if you think about it, regardless of the manager coming in, we're rebuilding anyway. We're rebuilding anyway. They're basing their manager criteria off of Pochettino. So obviously Poch is going to be the best option to come in to play the youth, to bring the energy back into the dressing room, to bring that attacking football back into Tottenham in the way that we play. But if it's not Poch, whoever it is still going to have to start from scratch. He's still going to have to try and bring in some middle-class players and make them play better and bring the youth through and all of that kind of stuff. So it's all no matter the angle you look at it, it all comes back round on itself.
I know. It's just an endless circle, and it's a thing like you spoke about. We've just we didn't invest at the right time and we just kept riding our luck. And now we've come to a point where it's going to be harder to get a manager in that's going to be able to do wonders. Like you said, we've gone back years. We have. That's the sad thing. I mean, there's a question here from Carl, I call him Cullen, but it's Carl. The fact that, would you rather have Poch for a rebuild or would you have Conte for instant trophy, so to speak, Formz?
Look, I think Conte is a fantastic manager. The fact that, I mean, you look at his record, he's come in and he's either won a trophy in his first or his second season. He's won a league title in his first or his second season everywhere he's gone recently, with Inter, with Chelsea, with whoever. But we ruined one of the greatest managers in football history's record. We ruined it. So it's not a case of it's all very well saying, "Oh, Poch for a rebuild or Conte for instant trophies." We brought Jose in for instant trophies. Look at what happened. And there's an argument, okay, you don't sack him 6 days before final, but we did. That's the reality. So it's going to be a rebuild, and I think to make it as little as less painful as painless as possible, then I think Poch is probably the right guy for it. But he's of a certain profile now. He's got a couple of trophies to his name. He's managed one of the biggest clubs in Europe in PSG. He's a wanted name. So he loves the club, but would he want to come back? Would he want to take that project on? Or would he want someone like a Ten Hag to come in and do it? And then in 2-3 years' time say, all right, thank you very much. You've brought us to a level. Let me take over and get us there.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, obviously we spoke about Poch and things, but the fact is the players stopped playing for Poch at the end of the day. And like I said, it's just too soon, I think. I mean, Kev said here that he'd rather have Ten Hag, which you've kind of pointed out. Like we all keep saying, we'd love him to come back. It's just too soon. I think Ten Hag would have a fresh mind. I mean, he's managed to do fresh things at Ajax. So that being said, I mean, we spoke the other day on the podcast with Tanya and Abby, and they seem to think that this Ali Gold rumour that came out a couple of days ago is kind of heading towards Ten Hag. I know, obviously, there's an extension in contract or something or whatever, but maybe that was kind of just a smokescreen in order for Levy to do his business behind. So that being said, do you think Ten Hag could possibly still be on the table, and would you want him?
I think he's on the table without a doubt, because Ali Gold tweeted today that Graham Potter is not an option anymore. And apparently he was never an option. Maybe I think Spurs inquired about him and then that was it. Like, it was just an inquiry. So if you look at all of the options and the managers that we were linked with, I mean, Nuno straight away as soon as he left Wolves, he wasn't coming to Spurs. Conte is probably going to go to Madrid. Graham Potter's now been sacked off as an option, and then you've got Poch and Ten Hag. And I watched Ali Gold put out an hour-long video, as he usually does on YouTube, just talking about the situation. And he was talking about a few things. He said that our top contender is still in a job. Our second ideal contender is also still in a job. But both of the managers that we are looking at are going to need huge financial backing. They're going to need to be guaranteed huge financial backing in order to lure them into the club, as well as demand a huge paycheck for the manager themselves at the end of the day. I think that Ten Hag, what he has done at Ajax is incredible. Obviously, the season that we knocked them out the Champions League, they were the underdogs. They were so fresh and exciting because of the youngsters and the youth and the academy players that they brought through. We've got some talented youngsters that, given the right opportunity, can definitely shine. The right opportunity under the right manager can definitely shine. So if it's Ten Hag, I'm not disappointed at all.
No, I don't think I will be either. Obviously, when Graham Potter was floating around, I was like, I'd rather have Harry Potter, to be honest with you. I just wasn't feeling that vibe. Chris with the great surname and said, what about Kingsman throwing his hat into the ring? See, at the moment, I think everybody's just having a go. I think Bob round the corner would like to have a go as well. So that being said, do you think reporters are kind of jumping on the bandwagon? Like, especially...
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I think that it's such a big thing at the moment, because in the past 5-6 years, Tottenham have built themselves up to be a name that is thrown around when you talk about big European clubs. I think we're like the 9th most valuable club in Europe. So it's definitely a big topic when a club like Spurs are looking for a manager, and certain journalists will just throw names out just to get clicks and stuff like that. In all honesty, the only 3 sources that I trust at all are Ali Gold, Sky Sports, and Tottenham themselves. That's it. So I think that any other names other than Poch and Ten Hag and potentially Conte, I probably won't believe it. I'm also set in it's going to be one of those 3. So if it's not one of those 3, and it's someone that is just so disappointing, then I'm going to be gutted.
So am I. That's the thing. I mean, at the moment, I think all Spurs fans are going crazy at the fact that these Poch rumours could have some truth in them. I don't want to get too ahead of myself because, like we said, I still think it's too soon, 100%. Like you said, I think a couple of years need to pass for it all to be settled. And I also don't think Levy with his ego is going to be like, oh, okay, maybe I made a mistake. I just don't think he's the type of man to do that.
He came out and said for the first time, literally like on record for the first time in his career, Daniel Levy said that he has admitted to friends that sacking Pochettino was the biggest mistake he's ever made.
Oh, wow, okay.
So I don't know whether that was in the Ali Gold thing or I've just seen it everywhere, but he's come out and said that sacking Poch was a huge mistake. So I think that, look, say what you want about the man, he loves the club. He loves Tottenham. He's a businessman at the end of the day, so he's going to do what he wants to make some money. He loves Tottenham. Whether Enoch loved Tottenham, I don't know. Daniel Levy loves Tottenham. So if bringing Pochettino back is genuinely the best thing for the club, then he'll do it.
Yeah, I hope you're right, Formz. I think, I don't know, my hatred towards the man is slowly getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
I want to sit here and say that he loves Tottenham, but when you sell the club off to European Super League, I'm kind of questioning his love because none of us would ever dream of doing that personally. And I know you're probably going to say, yeah, but if any other club was in that position, they'd probably take it. And you're probably right. They probably would. The fact that Tottenham were even in that question to join the Super League is another thing. But I don't know. For Tottenham, there was definitely going to be in a few years that club was going to turn into a franchise. It wouldn't be Tottenham Hotspur anymore. 100%
without a doubt, especially with American owners, without a doubt, because I think what is it, 4 of the top of the big 6 in England are owned by American owners. 100%. If the Super League happened, then football would fully be franchised, and I think everyone who wasn't in the Super League would literally turn into Sunday League level. Which would have ruined it. But look, we can talk about the Super League what we want. But yeah, I get the point. I get the point you're making. I'm just hopeful. I've always been an optimistic Spurs fan. Even in games where we're like 3-0 down at half time, I'm like, all right, we can do it. But I'm hoping that this summer we bring in a manager that everyone can not necessarily jump for joy if it's not Poch, but a manager that we can appreciate and go, okay, I see where you're coming from. Let's start the rebuild, and also bring in some players where we're like, all right, cool, I see where you're coming from. Let's start the rebuild.
But for me personally, obviously, he kept going back to Levy quickly. I mean, I am all there for people that will change. Obviously, we saw him come out with that statement saying that, obviously, I can't remember the ins and outs of it, but it was basically saying that he's not made a mistake, but the fact that he's realised that he's done some things wrong. And now I'm sat here thinking, right, now you need to actually put your words to actions. Now, if that is, we have a big summer, he signs a manager that's going to improve the team and make a rebuild, and he puts his money where his mouth is, then I'm all for it. I will hold my hands up and say, Levy, you've turned a corner. You've done well. I'm fully backing you. But until I see that, I'm still going to sit here and think, because that last game of the season where he charged 60 quid and you get free food, it just fully mugged me off. And you've seen other clubs that hadn't had fans in for so long. We all have been missing football. And he decided to make a quick, fast buck out of it. That's the thing that pisses me off. But anyway, we'll move away from Levy and Enoch, which is another big rumour that's going around at the moment, is Harry Kane. Now, I kind of want to get your thoughts on it. Now, you're probably going to say the same as everyone else. You don't begrudge him if he left. But that being said, Formz, do you think maybe Kane leaving will be the money we need for this rebuild? Or do you hope it won't ever have to come to that? That's a big question, I know.
Do you know what was mad? I've obviously had this conversation, as I'm sure every Spurs fan has. I've had this conversation with so many different people every day that each day my thoughts change. I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and be like, why did I say that? I didn't mean it. But where I'm at now, I don't... Look, getting 150 to 200 million for Kane, which is what we're not getting any less than 150 for him. It would be fantastic if we could invest it right. I'm hoping and I'm praying that if he does go and we sell him for that much money, we have learned from our mistakes when we sold Bale. And instead of bringing in 9 or 11 or 7 or however many players it was, players that just weren't good enough, we bring in 3 to 4 that can really, really do a job and not be world class. We're not looking to sign the Virgil van Dijks of the world. We're looking to sign players who can kickstart the rebuild. And I think that if we do sell Kane, then as long as we spend the money right, then 100% it's going to be worth it. Kane doesn't want to be part of a rebuild. The guy's nearly 28 years old. He's at the level of the top players in the world. He should be playing on the biggest stage, winning the biggest trophies. And I get it. I won't be mad at him if he goes, but I will, with every other Spurs fan, be absolutely gutted.
Oh no, it's a sad thing. When the fact that it really annoys me as well, we should have never have got to this point where we'd have to be having this conversation. That's the thing that really frustrates me. Obviously, that being said, where do you think Kane would go if he was to leave?
I mean, did you watch the Gary Neville thing?
Yeah.
So he's already ruled out abroad. And then it obviously leaves you. People say it leaves you 3 clubs. It leaves City, United, and Chelsea. You can fob Chelsea off because he's never going there. It literally leaves United and City. If you are Harry Kane and you are leaving Tottenham to win trophies, going to United is possibly one of the biggest sidesteps ever, because you can't guarantee trophies. They haven't won one now in 5 years. They've just bottled a final. If you want instant trophies, you walk into the Etihad and you put the number 10 shirt on and you crack on. There's literally, if he doesn't stay at Spurs, he goes to City. If he doesn't go to City, he stays at Spurs. They're his 2 options. They are fully his 2 options, and you can't even change my mind. The Glazers can be just like what we said earlier with Daniel Levy bringing Poch back to sort of push last season under the rug. The Glazers can spend as much money as they want on Kane to try and distract United fans, but they won't spend the money because they don't care about United.
Yeah.
And I'm waffling, but long story short, if he doesn't stay at Spurs, he only goes to City. The geezer wins trophies and he gets them like that.
I think that's the thing. And like you said, I also think it hangs in the balance where obviously Haaland goes. I think if Haaland goes to City, does Kane go to City? And like you said, is that another ball in the court? I get
the... Actually, I don't. I was going to say I get the whole age thing when with Kane nearly being 28 and his ankles, this, that, the other, and Haaland being like 20. But at the same time, you've just let a 32-year-old striker go. So 27 in comparison seems young. 27 who, if given the right players around him, like your Mahrez is and your De Bruyne's and your Fodens, Harry Kane, there's no reason why he can't score 50 Premier League goals in a season. So if I was City's head of football development and transfers and all of that stuff, I would be making Harry Kane my absolute priority over Erling Haaland, because yes, he's a beast. He's done it on the Champions League stage. Yes, he's done it in Austria. He's done it in Germany, but the Premier League's a different ball game. You just don't know. So if I was Man City and I wanted not only a replacement for Aguero, but an upgrade from Aguero, you sign Kane. It's a no-brainer.
100%. And it's interesting you said that as well, because Kane's proven in the Prem. We've seen it for how many years? How many times has he got golden boots? And like Scott says here, with rotation and a quality team that's be able to give him service, because let's be honest, we haven't managed to do that this season, bar Sonny. He's going to be banging them in. Like you said, he could even reach 50 goals a season. I mean, it sounds mad, but with Harry Kane on his day every week, I don't think it's that far off.
I mean, he wants to be Ronaldo and Messi's level, and look at how many in their prime, look at how many goals they were banging in. There's no reason with the right players around him, he can't do that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Orange says here, which kind of leads me on to the next point about the Conference League, is that if he stays with us, he can play in the Conference League. Now, that being said, what's your kind of thoughts of us getting the Conference League next year? Do you kind of understand it? Because I still haven't got a clue on how it operates or how it works.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. Do you know what's mad? Actually, I'll transition from Kane into the Conference League. But if Kane does decide to stay another year, it would be great for the club, because Kane is the club. But I think it would be great if Kane stays for 12 months and sort of kick-starts the rebuild and goes, all right, let's get you in the best possible position, and then I'm a dip. And that would be fantastic. But my thoughts on the Conference League, I was so happy when obviously we lost to Villa and it ruined our chances of Europa League. I was gutted. I'd rather play in the Europa League. Yeah. But I was so happy when we beat Leicester, not only to finish above Arsenal, but to get into the Conference League. And the reason being, I spoke to all of my Arsenal fan friends, and they all give it the big and I'd rather be I'd rather have no Europe at all than play in the Conference League, blah, 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 blah. No, you wouldn't. If you take Europe aside, you'd rather finish above Tottenham and you'd rather be 7th and 8th. So Arsenal fans can do one. That's just an excuse. If that was me and we bottled the chance to play in the Europa Conference, I would have been gutted. I think it's the perfect opportunity to start a rebuild. Because if you're bringing in a manager, and the club has already said they want a manager to come in and build the youth as well as bringing new players, it's the perfect competition to see what academy players have the bottle and to really give the new players a chance to gel with the current players that we've got. I think it's the perfect competition. And look, it's written in the stars that we play Jose Mourinho's Roma at some point, but I'm willing to lose to Jose Mourinho in the Europa Conference League as long as it does what I said and builds the academy and gels the new players in.
To be honest with you, I never really thought of it like that. I didn't turn my nose up at it, but I was thinking to myself, I don't think we could really, not that we've kind of, what's the word? I'm trying to think, I've lost my trail of thought. But for me, I don't know, Conference League winners, like, yes, it's a trophy, but again, it'll be like the Tin Pot trophy. But then when you say about in the sense that it will build our academy up, it will set us for the next couple of years that are going to be this rebuild. It's actually an interesting point you make. I mean, I don't know if I'd want to see the likes of Kane playing in it. I think that's the only thing I hope we don't see, the fact of those prestigious players, shall we say, the first team players playing in that competition. But your likes of Dane Scarlett are doing the world of good.
Without a doubt. And look, if we don't on Dane Scarlett, and obviously we've got Troy Parrott coming back as well. I think a lot of people have forgotten about Troy. But legend Kev. If we are fully lost my train of thought now.
Sorry.
Dane. So if we don't necessarily we're not signing. We are not signing Delicious Vinicius. We're not doing it. So if we don't bring in that quality striker, which we need to, obviously we get rid of Kane. But if we don't, then Dane Scarlett and Troy Parrott will tear up the Europa Conference League. And if they don't, then thank you very much. You've shown us what you can do. It's time to go. But I'm very happy that we're in the competition. And look, you say it's a Tin Pot trophy. Everyone calls the Carabao Cup the Mickey Mouse Cup. Yeah. If we won that this season, we'd be jumping for joy. It's been 13 years without a trophy. If we win the Europa Conference League, you will see me running down topless on my street with a beer in my hand. Don't get it twisted. It's a trophy and it's a major European one. Inaugural or not, it's a trophy.
That is true. I think I'm just being a bit of a snob, to be fair. At the end of the day, we've got the Audi Cup to our name, and I probably should be a bit more enthusiastic.
To be fair, we've earned the right to be snobby in the sense that we were playing at such a high level, but we've got to a point where we need a reality check, and we actually don't have the right to be snobby anymore. If we were Leicester, fine. If we were, dare I say it, West Ham, fine. But we're not.
West Ham for this season.
Yeah, fine. West Ham for this season. And I hate the fact that, look, as a Tottenham fan, West Ham get in the bid. But as a football fan, I'm so happy that they're going on a European tour. I'm actually so happy that they're going on a European tour. And I'm also glad that Leicester, it's going to make me sound like such a bad Spurs fan, but I'm also glad that Leicester finished in a Europa spot rather than a Champions League spot, and Chelsea got Champions League, because I would also, as a football fan, Leicester have got a better chance of winning Europa than they do Champions League. And if Leicester win the Europa League, I'll be jumping for joy for them.
Yeah. No, that's right. No, I get what you're saying. And it is true. I think it's, again, we were so close to be able to get over the line. And again, we slipped up. And then I'm sat here getting snobby about a Conference League. But I actually generally never kind of took it in that kind of like eyesight. I never really thought of it that kind of way. And like you said, we need a rebuild. And sadly, it should have kick-started ages ago, and we just let it slide and slide and slide. Now, I'm trying to think of where to go next. I think I've asked this to the panel the other day, and obviously, as we know, that Harry Winks behind me is the one player that has got a lot of stick this season, a whole of a lot of stick.
Yeah.
But obviously, the last game of the season, I don't think he played too bad. Now, I don't think that's going to rescue the rest of his career at Tottenham. But that being said, obviously, he didn't get into the Euros again. Do you think, obviously, I'm going to put this right on its head, do you think Pochettino leaving and Jose coming in has really damaged some players in their sense of mentality. Now, I know we didn't have a mentality to start with, but do you think some players are really going to struggle with the rest of their careers no matter where they go, or do you think it's just a phase with Tottenham, that's it, you need to go find somewhere else now?
Poch leaving made a huge dent on the likes of Winks, Dele, Foyth, who killed it this season at Villarreal. Who else? Killed Danny Rose. Killed... who else did it kill?
Trying to think.
Who else did it kill? It killed...
probably Bergwijn to an extent. To think
yeah.
that he
was major flop, Bergwijn. I wouldn't say it killed him, but it definitely threw, and I know he's had injuries, but it definitely threw Lo Celso off track, because you look at the Argentinian connection that Poch had with the Argentinian players, and look, bless Lamela, he's not the best, but he puts in a shift. He really was starting to excel under Poch, and he did play very well under Jose. But I'm just using that as an example because Lo Celso would have absolutely shone under Poch. Gazaniga, he's gone. Gutted for him because he, in my opinion, did nothing wrong. Dele was poor before Poch left. Dele's issue is an internal issue. I agree, and I actually, because I know some people who are friends with Dele, I actually know a lot of the stuff that has gone on with Dele Alli. But it's at the end of the day, you're being paid hundreds of thousands of pounds a week.
Yeah.
That regardless of what's got, we've got one of the, people keep saying we've got the best training facility in the world, but that doesn't not come with the best staff, the sports psychologists, all the way from the kit man to the psychologists to the chefs. Like if there were internal problems with players, which there were, we've got the people to fix that. So I do think the Poch leaving really did affect Dele Alli.
Yeah, I think so too. And that kind of leads me on to the next question, is that I still think to this day that if we sent him out on loan to PSG in January, we'd have a different Dele coming back to us at the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was not only would it build his confidence up playing with the manager who brought him into Spurs, but imagine playing alongside Neymar and Mbappe. That you instantly, if you're a player of Dele's quality / potential, players like Neymar and Mbappe and all of those lot, they bring it out of you. And I think it would have done him the world of good. But Jose, being who he was selfish with it and said, no, I'm gonna coach him the way I coach him, and he's gonna stay at the club.
Do you reckon it was all of a stint from Jose saying he needs to stay, or do you think maybe Levy had an overhaul on it saying no, he's not leaving? Or do you think that kind of make on that? Because
you hear the stories that are like, oh no, Levy wanted him to stay because you play him as much as you can for the resale value, make him look good, blah 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 blah. But no, at the end of the day, Dele's got however many years left on his contract. You want him to perform well for you, then you send him off to loan. You send him off on loan. I think it was Jose stopped that. Without a doubt, Jose stopped that. It doesn't make sense for the club to go, no, he's not playing well. He's rarely playing. We're just going to keep him and sit him on the bench, because that doesn't look good. If you want him to A, improve for your club, you send him out on loan to PSG, and B, if you want him to be in a shop window, you send him out to PSG. So it can't have been Levy and the club who made that decision. I can't see it.
You don't think? I mean, that's fair. I mean, I've always kind of sat here and thought, I think they've had, like, towards the end of the season, I think they've definitely had a say on who plays in the team.
Yeah, with Ryan Mason, Ryan Mason got told left, right, and centre, you have to play Bergwijn, you have to play Winks, you have to play this player, you have to play that player, because we are, without a doubt, I hope I'm right, looking to sell those players in the summer. So you have to play them, especially towards the end of the season where the transfer window is about to open. You have to play them, because if you've rarely played them, and Bergwijn, for example, before Ryan Mason came in, had 0 assists and 0 goals, and he's finished the season with 1 assist and 1 goal. But it's those clubs are going to look at that and think, okay, he turned up, he's in relative form, we're going to take him. Yeah.
No, it's interesting. I mean, I've probably got my back up against Levy and Enick all the time, so whenever I hear someone, I'm a bit like, hang on. But no, it's a good point. That being said, though, do you think we need to ship Dele out, or do you think this is hopefully a turning point for Dele Alli now, or do you think it's too little, too late?
Depends on the manager.
You reckon?
Depends on the manager. He did, when he was performing well, and Poch was like a father figure. It was really, really good. But when Jose came in and said, "You're too lazy. I don't like what you're doing," I was extremely critical. He turned away from. He looked like he lost his motivation. He lost his passion. So the right manager can change the way a player performs completely. What was I just saw something pop up about Stevie under?
Oh, that one. Different gravy.
I would love to agree. But I actually don't, and I only say that because Bergwijn seems like the type of player. Like in his first interview when he joined Spurs, he said, "Oh, one of the reasons I really wanted to come to Spurs was because they booted Ajax out the Champions League. I hate Ajax. I'm PSV all the way." That's the only I can see like some sort of internal clash for that reason and that reason only. Plus, I was saying this to someone the other day. It's wrong. It's obviously not true, but if Ten Hag comes in, I'm thinking it's like one big master plan to run us into the ground as like a revenge plan for what we did to him in the Champions League. Can you imagine?
Oh my God. Conspiracy theories would run wild with your comments. I love it.
Yeah.
It is interesting. Like, I wouldn't put it past. I mean, the things that I've obviously said about Enik and Levy, I wouldn't put it past something like that crazy happening, which is a madness. Obviously, we know there's a rebuild coming up. I think someone's mentioned in the where is it? Which is a good point as well. All the players that were slowly getting back into the team towards the end of the season did want national team duty. Obviously, that was Winks. That was obviously Dyer. Now Dyer, I mean, we've got to talk about Dyer because he has had a pretty dire season. In my kind of respect. I mean, before Christmas, okay, we could maybe have a different chat, but it's just the consistency of not playing well grew more and more over the consistency of playing well. So, with that being said, Formz, what's your thoughts on Dyer overall season?
Oh, it hasn't been great, has it? It's not been great. He made a very bold statement, and you have to hold your hands up and say fair play to him. He made a very, very bold statement when Mourinho joined halfway through the season, like 2 seasons ago, and he said, "Look, I don't want to play in midfield. I want to be a centre half. That is the position I feel most comfortable in. I would very much like to be put in that position." Because obviously, when he was playing as a defensive midfielder for us, when we pushed forward, he sort of slotted back into a 3 quite nicely, but he didn't do it for 90 minutes in a game. So I think he felt comfortable doing it every now and then. And that's what made him go, "Okay, fine, I like this. I'm going to be a centre half." He made the bold statement. He tried to make a change. It didn't work in the sense that when we had Jan and Toby at the back, I wish. When we had Jan and Toby at the back, if Eric Dyer made a mistake, he's got a back 4 behind him to fix it. Or try and fix it.
Yeah,
he's now the last player on the pitch before the striker meets the keeper. If he makes a mistake, that's it. We're screwed. And I think that really, really, really showed this season. But look, fair play to him for trying. I don't think it worked in his favour at all.
No, that's the thing for me. Like, people will sit here and try and defend him in the sense, because I've heard it before, the fact that he has been played loads of different positions throughout his career and his head's probably all over the place. And I don't discredit that, but for, like you said, to come out and be so bold about it, like, okay, fair enough, I'll give you brownie points, you've got balls about it, but to then endlessly come out after every game, or I think someone wrote a comment saying, I can't remember who it was, saying that obviously he thinks he hasn't had a bad season. To be that so narrow-minded at the fact that you don't think you've made many mistakes, just for me completely confuses the sense that you need to hold your hands up when you haven't done well, and he just doesn't have that kind of ability to do so, I don't think.
I do blame Mourinho for that, because Mourinho again was very bold and very vocal about how he loved Dyer. At the start, he was like, Eric Dyer is the one, and he showed it by playing Dyer in pretty much every game, whether it was Champions League, League, Cup, whatever. Dyer was there. And then he slowly started playing Sanchez and Toby instead, and sort of kicked Dyer out the squad. And I think that was probably to give Dyer that little kick up the backside and say, "Okay, you're not playing as well as you think you are. I like you. I think you've got potential, but I'm not playing you. So hopefully you see what you need to be doing." And he didn't do it. And I am gutted for him, because I do think that Dyer is a better option is a better option in the England squad for some of the centre halves in there. I think Dyer, in my ideal 26-man squad, Dyer slots in there over the likes of Tyrone Mings. But look, it happened. Southgate made his choice. I'm not upset about it. I'm more upset for Dyer on a personal level. And on the comment that was made about how Mason was playing certain players to get into the national team, if you're talking about someone like Winks, Southgate probably made his decision on Winks a long time ago in the season and said, look, he's not had enough game time over the season. Playing the last 2-3 games isn't going to make a difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, England squad is what it is. They'll just have to try again harder when Winks is playing for, I don't know, Watford and Dyer's playing for Benfica.
I need to take the Winks style down, I think. It just fuels conversation for it, and I'm sat here squirming. I'm like, I just want to put it on there. But he's there for banter now. Obviously, I just want to round up quickly on the other positions, which is obviously this right-back talk. Now, both our right-backs aren't fabulous. Let's not put it out there. But I definitely don't think we're going to get rid of either. Well, not either. I don't think we're going to get rid of both of them in that kind of sense. I just don't think we have the facilities to do so. With that being said, who would you rather keep? Who would you say stays at Tottenham?
Serge, because he's played a lot. If you compare their seasons and just look at stats, you keep Serge because he attacks very nicely. He fits into the system sometimes. Yes, he used to be a red card and a penalty waiting to happen. He makes the same amount of mistakes, but he just chooses to do it outside the box this time. But he's got the assists in him. He's got the 1 or 2 goals here and there in him. But if you look at Doherty, there's people saying, oh, he was playing at a right wing back at Wolves, and now he's at a right back. It's different positions. If you're playing right in the back corner of a football pitch, you know what you're doing. That's not really an excuse. But at the same time, he had coronavirus at a very pivotal part of his season. And you don't know what that can do to a player. Ali Gold was talking about this. You don't know what that can do to a player. We don't know how it affects you. It's a respiratory disease. You don't know what that can do to your fitness. We don't know what that can do to you mentally. It's a new club. It's the first season. Look what happened to Ndombele his first season. And we signed him for 11 million. Give him another season. Don't play him as your first choice right back, but give him another chance. I don't see why we should get rid of him straight away. Who else is going to do this for those videos? He is a trooper. I love these comments. He is a trooper when it comes to those videos. Him and Joe Roden. It's like, we're not training, we're not playing, we may as well do some videos.
It is very true, and it is interesting you said that, obviously, about Doherty, and it is true. I think with Tottenham at the moment, and Tottenham fans, especially me, I've just had enough. I just want to see us do well now. I think the amount of times we've been let down, I've just had enough. Just get it right once. And I think I'm just impatient now. I think that's the trouble.
Serge, on the right back, sorry to interrupt, on the right back, Serge wants to go. I see loads of tweets and stuff saying he's been reported back to PSG and the owners want him back at PSG. And if Poch stays, it'd be great. And I don't know whether it was Barca or Real, but he was linked to one of them. I really don't know why, but fair play.
No, that is true. At the moment, I just don't think we can be really... I don't think we're going to get rid of many people in that kind of sense. I just don't think it's going to realistically work with funds. And like you said, the big thing hangs in the balance with Kane. If Kane goes, okay, we've got a bit more money, but again, you worry that it's not going to be invested properly. That's the sad truth. That being said, I also want to talk about Gareth Bale. Now, obviously, I think it was the end of the last game of the season. He was saying, I don't want to speak too much because I cause chaos. Now, I don't know whether that's him trying to grab some attention, or do you think he's maybe, I don't know, eyeing up to go back to Real Madrid? Or is it early retirement after Euros? What do you kind of make his comment? Or do you think it's just a throwaway comment?
He's not retiring. He can't retire. I think that I saw some weird thing that said that Bale said that because he's going to United. I don't believe it. Like I've only seen one tweet on it, but it's like every time someone mentions Bale on that interview, that's the first thing I think of. I'm like, please don't go to United. But anyway, from his comment, I think he said what he said, and it can mean two things. He knows what he's doing, but he can't say because it will cause chaos. That can mean he's staying at Spurs, but Real Madrid have said that in no way are you allowed to say that because we don't want to announce our plans yet. Or he's going to go back to Madrid and sit on the bench and take the number 26 shirt for a whole season and then run his contract down. And that will cause chaos with Spurs fans. It's like, what are you doing? No, we want to stay. Blah, blah, blah. So it literally, you could look at it from both ways. I've got no idea what he's doing. I want him to stay. But I think we've got the option to extend the loan for a year and keep paying what we're paying him. But do we want to play? He's not fit enough to play every game. Do we want to pay top dollar, 250 grand a week or whatever it was, for a player who isn't going to be in the starting lineup every week?
That is true. I think I saw rumours that it was only going to be 15 mil across the whole season. I don't know whether that's true. I know it's a lot of money, but if you think, his stat, I did a video on the other day when we spoke about it. If you see his stats, he scored 11 Premier League goals in 20 appearances. Now, those 20 appearances, like you said, he hasn't played all those minutes. Like, for a player to come off the bench, we've been screaming out for a player that's going to do something off the bench for so long.
True.
And for 15 mil, are we really going to get a player that's going to do those kind of stats for less than that? I don't know. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I just, like I said, we all want him to stay. And imagine, like, from a selfish point of view, imagine us in the stadium witnessing him scoring a goal. Like, from a selfish point of view.
I can't wait for that. I made a whole bloody rap and a music video about Bale coming back. I haven't even got to see him play, for God's sake. Like, it's so annoying. And then if he goes after one season, the worst thing I ever did. Well, not ever did. I've done really bad. One of the worst things I've ever said in a rap thing was when Bale signed. I put in the song. I think it was Mourinho is a winner, and I hope he's got one master plan because by the end of the season we want silverware back at Tottenham. And I looked at it and I'm like, no.
Oh dear. No, now you said that, I do remember it because that's like one of the videos I keep. Every time I get hyped for football matches, I put all the Tottenham playlists on. Your one is definitely on the playlist, and I was thinking, oh no, you're gonna be eating your words now. Fully. Oh dear. But that being said, Formz, like, it's probably a big question, but what are just your hopes by the end of the start of next season? What do you hope we've got in plan? If you to say we're not the manager, but say if you had full reign at Tottenham Hotspur right now, say you were your Levy, what would you hope to have been done before the season starts?
I'm gonna throw some. Okay, I'd want to see an English striker, another English striker come in, not from the academy. I'd want to sign one like a Bamford or a Watkins. I think that'd be great. An English striker very much suits the way our style of play, suits a rebuild. So I'd love to have an English striker. I think we are screaming out for another left winger who can play when Son can't, because Son was overplayed so much this season and Bergwijn just isn't doing it. And obviously we got Sessegnon coming back, but I'd still want to sign another left wing. We also need we don't need a world-class one. We need a half-decent right-back just to keep that rotation and see who works. And then it's got to be two centre-halves. If we overall, if we end the summer without another striker and without two centre-halves, I will be so disappointed. And I'd love to bring in a Skriniar who's just won the bloody league in Italy. And I'd love to bring in... I don't even know who else. I genuinely don't. I want two strikers who know what they're doing, Hollie.
I know. It's a struggle.
Doing.
I mean, not that, like, from living in Southampton right now, I can tell you they will not let the king of the scummers go. 100%. There will be riots on the street if Danny Ings goes to Tottenham. I'm not even kidding it. The man was born in Winchester. He's literally more Southampton could ever be true. I just don't think he's coming to Tottenham before.
I don't want him at Spurs.
I don't want him at Spurs either.
I don't want him at Spurs. Not because he's not good. He's bloody brilliant. But I just think that our rebuild system suits. If we want to sort of replicate what we've done over the last 6 years, bar the season we've just had, I think a young English striker coming in will do the business. I don't think Troy Parrott's there. He didn't score many goals on his loan spell to Millwall and Ipswich. And Dane Scarlett's 16 years old. I've got pairs of pants that are older than Dane Scarlett. Like, He's not ready. We need to sign another English striker.
100%.
That isn't Danny.
That isn't Danny. Yeah, let's just make that. It is not Danny Ings. Danny Ings is not coming to Tottenham. And like I said, I don't want him. Like you said, I just don't think we'd be moving the club forward in that kind of sense.
Yeah, completely.
It'll just be...
To answer in a nutshell, to answer your question, what if I had full control, what would I see over the summer? The players that I'd bring in, positions I'd bring in: striker, left wing, right back, 2 centre halves. So the 5 players, and I would also, and a backup keeper because Gazaniga's gone and Joe Hart. So that's 6 players. But I would also get rid of Winks, Sissoko. I would get rid of Aurier. I can't lie if it means selling players. Vinicius has gone anyway. I would get rid of. I'd get rid of Lamella. I'm trying to think of who else I can see on the bench for us sometimes. I'd definitely get rid of those players, and then I'd sign those positions that I just mentioned.
I mean, the only good thing about it is the fact that Skippy is hopefully coming back to Tottenham, so that gives me a little bit of hope.
God, I forgot about Skip. Wow, he was like one of Norwich's players of the season.
I know. How could you forget him?
Oh, Skippy. Skippy. Oh, but the thing is, I would. Oh, we'd be so solid. I actually think it would work wonders if we had Mourinho still as a manager, and we had a solid back 4 who knew what they were doing, with Skip and Højbjerg sitting in front of them, and then just how many players does that leave us? 4, 2 leaves us with 4 players, and then literally a prime alley, and then Bale, Son, and Kane. Oh,
tingles.
That would be ideal, but that's not going to happen. And with a rebuild manager with an attacking philosophy, I can't see us playing Skip and Højbjerg. I can't see it because we need Pierre sitting in front of the back 4, and then we need someone doing the business in the mid, and then we need a Cam to be creative, and then. See,
it is interesting you say that because I was the same. But then, if you look at the way Skippy was playing for Norwich, he was the one that was kind of moving the ball forward as well. Like he'd have that attribute of Højbjerg of breaking up the play, but he'd be the one that was shifting the ball forward as well. So I don't know whether we'd see the likes of a future Wanyama and Dembele. Not saying that Skippy's going to be the next Dembele before anybody clips it, but you know what I mean? There might be that kind of dynamic if Skippy can develop that side of his game. I don't know.
I'd love that. And he's young enough to be able to do that, and he's got the stamina to be able to do that. So I don't see why not. Can I say something that a lot of Spurs fans don't like me saying? And I know we've got whatever. I hated Wanyama.
You didn't like him?
There was not, apart from the goal against Liverpool, there was not one, and maybe the last game that we played at the lane against United, there was not one thing he did that I enjoyed watching.
That's the thing. I think Højbjerg, in a kind of sense, people say he can't pass the ball, and I'm trying not to defend him because there is instances where he's not able to pass the ball around. He just can't do it. But Wanyama was kind of the same, as that he'll just kick people up in the air, and break the play up. And then you have Dembele that had all the skill that could do all the other things. So I don't know, maybe Højbjerg is a better Wanyama. And I said that on Twitter earlier, and people were slating me for it. But I back that. I back that. Do you know what I mean? I just think that's kind of dynamic, duo that we could potentially adapt. And like you said, Skippy's young, so he could potentially do it. You never know. I mean, it's there for the taking. Darren thinks he's our saviour, so I'll take that. I think we should maybe end on that positive note. But Formz, thank you once again for joining me tonight. It was nice to speak to you and get your opinions, because like I said, it's quite nice to have a fresher breath. It's quite nice to have a breath of fresh air, because normally when I talk about things, it's normally Enick and Levy and I get wound up and things like that. But it's quite nice to actually hear your kind of opinions, and I think everybody in the chat enjoyed it as well. So Formz, where can everybody find you? I will not ask you for a rap, but I will at some stage need a Winks, an Agambar, and another word to fit into a rap, so that would be sick. Fine. Next time, I promise you. Next time. I mean, before I plug myself, thank you for having me on again. It's been great. I love talking about
I love looking at different sides of things. But whenever I come on here, we talk about everything, and I love that. It's not just like we focus on one thing; it's the whole thing, and I really enjoy it. So thank you very much.
No, thank you.
And where can people find me? Literally, they can see what I can see, right? My name there.
Yeah.
If you want music, you type that name. Actually, type this name into anywhere: Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. You'll see my stupid face pop up, and that is literally where you can find me everywhere. Just type in Formz, and I'm the first one that comes up.
Make sure. I mean, look, Ross is singing your praises, so it's all good.
Ross, you're a legend.
So make sure you do check out Formz. I will at some stage get Formz' link in the description below, which I'll do straight after this stream. But thank you once again, and guys, I will not be doing another show till probably next Thursday, and it'll probably just be me. It'll be the usual Hollie's Hot Takes. But until next time, thanks again for everyone I'm watching, and come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.